The House has overwhelmingly voted in favor of an overhaul of the NSA's bulk collection of our data. Now, what does that mean? As you know, through Edward Snowden's leaks, the NSA does collect all of our phone conversations indiscriminately, and they keep it in a database. Well, under the new legislation that was proposed by and passed by the House of Representatives, the NSA would need to get a court order in order to have access to that data, and the NSA wouldn't collect it indiscriminately. Of course, the telecommunications companies like Verizon, AT&T, you get the picture, would have that data, and in order for the government to get their hands on it, they would need to get approval from a judge. Now, let me spell this out for you in better detail. The House overwhelmingly backed the USA Freedom Act, which would end the bulk collection program and instead give intelligence agencies access to telephone data and other records only when court finds there is reasonable suspicion about a link to international terrorism. Now, it passed 338 to 88. We don't know whether or not it's going to pass in the Senate, but there are a lot of interesting voices in this debate. For one, John Boehner is saying, for the love of God, the Senate needs to pass this, because the current program that the NSA is utilizing is set to expire on June 1st. So if there isn't some sort of agreement, there could be absolutely no program in place. Rand Paul says, I would rather have no program in place, which is fascinating.
Yeah. So this is one of the few places where the libertarians have won within the Republican Party. And partly because it's just a matter of the government having more power. Nobody really gets that rich off of it. There's some contractors that get rich off of it, but Comcast doesn't get rich off of this. Oftentimes, the AT&T and Verizon of the world are forced to cooperate with the government. Yes, they get some money back, but it's not like it's a huge profit center for them. It's just more of a pain in their ass because they got to go tell their customers it wasn't us. Remember, they had to pass a bill saying, no, we're not going to hold AT&T and Verizon responsible for what the government made them do. So since there isn't a lot of money involved, there's some, but not a lot, the Republicans get to act out of principle for a rare change. And I like their principles here. Right? I love the libertarian principle here. Agree with it completely. They've largely won over the Republican Party in the House. Great. If we're having real ideological debates, interesting things come out of it. First of all, that's great. That's called democracy. Right? Second of all, you never know who you wind up agreeing with once you take the money out of the equation.
I never thought I would agree with John Boehner on anything. So it's, I guess, a little refreshing to know that he's on the right side when it comes to this issue. Mitch McConnell is not. He has not only bought into the fear-mongering, he continues to regurgitate it. And so he thinks that if the NSA is unable to do what they're currently doing with indiscriminately collecting our data, then it's going to be a huge blow to national security. Of course, that's not true. If anything, it would improve national security, because when you have all of this data, you have this wealth of data, it's much more difficult to go through it and figure out who actually poses a real threat.
Yeah, it's kind of like a document dump that lawyers do, right? And obviously we haven't caught a lot of the people who intend to do us harm through this program. In fact, they've never shown us that it's ever worked, right? So let me give a little bit more color to all this. Now, Boehner wasn't always in this position. He got pushed to this position. Part of the reason he's so fervent that it has to pass, as Anna pointed out, is because he wants the program to continue overall, right? It's the more libertarian and actually even more conservative members of the Republican caucus in the House that have pushed Boehner in this direction, and bless their hearts for that, okay? And progressives agree. So great agreement there. It's the establishment that's fighting back in the form of Mitch McConnell and some Democrats as well on the Senate side. And by the way, very importantly, President Obama. Now, he talks a good game about this, but wait a minute, he's the one that ran the program in the first place. It's his administration's program. So in reality, here we have again, President Obama and Mitch McConnell agreeing. When they agree, watch out, it's almost never to the benefit of the American people.
Yeah, I worry about that. And also, another thing to keep in mind is that the House of Representatives did pass similar legislation last year, and it stalled in the Senate. So it's likely that that could happen again. So will this bring about real change? Based on our past experiences, I doubt it.
Yeah, and remember, it's just about phone data. So it's not like the problem would be solved. They're still collecting a lot of data outside of that that is also unacceptable, okay? And the Senate is the most pro-establishment house between the two houses of Congress. So that's why it's more likely to protect the establishment, and in this case, be against the privacy interests of the American people. Yep. Now, I want to ask you one add-on question. Edward Snowden leads to results like this, right? Amazing, heroic work, so people putting up statues of him. But he's got to live in Russia, can't see his family and friends. Would you be Edward Snowden?
No.
Like you,
No.
Even though like that, so this remains secret. I mean, look, that's the thing.
I feel like, I don't know if this is even possible. I think I would pray on it for a lot longer, and not like literally like pray on it, but like think about it longer. And I would try to be more tactful in a way where I could do so anonymously. I don't know if I would be able to pull it off, but if I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I could pull that off, I'd do it. Would I sacrifice everything in my life in order to do it? No. I think Edward Snowden is one of the most courageous people I've ever read about. I think he's amazing. I have a lot of respect for him. But given what he did, do you think that it brought about any real change? Like, it's nice that the House is considering doing something about telephone data.
Right.
But is it really going to change the way that our privacy is being violated?
So did it get the amount of change that he was hoping for? No, absolutely not. But did it make a difference? Absolutely. I mean, these are the acts of heroism that make all the difference, because now they can't deny it anymore. They were lying about it all. They got caught lying. I know it didn't have any consequences. The only one who's wanted is Edward Snowden, not the guys who lied about the program and to Congress, which is illegal, by the way. They all got away with it, right? But at least now there's some bipartisan agreement among Republicans and Democrats saying, hey, you know what? Remember, especially for conservatives to go, we were supposed to be afraid of big government. We don't like big government. We don't want him. The whole point was get out of our lives, right? And he's reminded people of that, and he's at least pointed out what's going wrong. And even in our relationships with other countries, now we can't continue to lie to them. Like, oh, spy on people? No, we never do. No, I don't know what you're talking about. So the truth has tremendous value, even if this current corrupt government doesn't act on it.
Would you do it?
No.
Okay.
So, because I got kids, I can't. That's why it was so important that he was single. I'm not going to, not be able to see my kids, my family, etc. And the reason I say that so definitively, and why I ask the question is, think about his courage, man.
Yeah, very courageous.
Like there's so many people in this country who are still like, oh, Snowden, traitor, this, that, the other thing, coward. People say they love throwing that word. Are you crazy? I mean, even if you disagree with him, it took enormous courage to do what he did. The kind of courage that you won't see in an overwhelmingly high percentage of the country.